Okay, man, it's recording now. Say it again. You went undercover and you bought a bunch of these courses.
You're gonna blur up my face and change my voice, right?
Yeah, no worries. We'll make sure that you're blurred out.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time and a lot of money going through these courses to find out if what they're teaching is legit.
Okay, so tell me what you found.
Yeah, so their stuff is super basic. There's a lot of really shady tactics. They're constantly trying to sell you on things that cost more, but the worst thing is, dang it.
For the last couple of years, there has been a bubble a-brewing. It's called faceless YouTube, aka YouTube automation, aka cash cow channels. Generally speaking, the most devious things go by multiple names. There are a lot of gurus who have declared that they have cracked the code on how to build YouTube channels without having to show your face, use your own voice, or even know how to edit, or sometimes even know how to post videos. Their sales pitch is the classic get something for nothing technique, the old path of least resistance. And hey, you guys, I get it. We all want to have a dream to chase, and we don't always want to have to work very hard to get to that dream. You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand why a lot of people are falling for this, and I know that some of these guys are making millions of dollars a month selling their systems. Well, you guys, old cousin Rafidi here went undercover. I spent money, I spent time researching these courses, and what I discovered will shock you to your core. And I can definitively say that most of these courses are cheaterish. Is that a word? We're gonna roll with it. Cheaterish, basic, black hat, and most people who buy them are not going to make a single cent. The question that I want to get you guys to ask yourselves is, are they worth the thousands of dollars that they cost? Well, guess what? Put your wallets back in your back pockets, unless you have one of those man purses. Throw that bad boy in your front pouch and let's get rocking and rolling, because today I'm gonna piss off a whole bunch of these gurus and I'm gonna share all of the secrets on how to grow a faceless channel from scratch. I'm gonna do it all in the next however long this video takes. It might take me a minute or two. So the question you need to be asking yourself is, are you ready to make millions? This might not be the way to do it, but are you ready to make tens of dollars? If you are, let's dive into it. All right, you guys, the first thing that I want to go over are the shady sales tactics that these guys use, so that way you can be aware of them. But before I do, last week in my community tab, I put up a poll that said, hey, would you guys like me to make a secret playlist full of unlisted, cool, in-depth trainings that are just kind of a little bit more basic, production value isn't as high, and 86% of you said, yes, please. Well, here's what I decided to do. Rather than putting them in a secret playlist, I'm going to put them in the podcast playlist. I'm not putting them on the main channel. I'm putting them all in that playlist so you can listen to them, or you can come back and check out that playlist whenever you want some more. Good stuff.
All right, the shady stuff.
Here we go. I had a number of people reach out, and I've gone through some of these courses before, and I've seen a lot of what they're promoting online. Here are the shady things that they're doing, and some of this stuff is actually really interesting, so pay attention. All right, so the first thing that I want to show you guys is a lot of the times when these guys are promoting these courses, they're showing you these graphs, these spikes in their revenue from YouTube. And this is what I've been told a lot of them are doing. If you guys go to your YouTube channel, look at this. Here's my channel over the last 28 days. Look at that, $88,393.67. But that's not actually the truth. You see, if you go to settings and you change your currency from the US dollar to the Argentine peso, $1 US is worth about 240 Argentinian pesos. And so if I go back to US dollars, oh man, I've only made about $383.54. But you can see that the shadiness of the tactic is that they're showing you these big giant numbers, selling you on a dream that is not always true. So just don't buy into big giant numbers unless they're backed up in some other way other than just some type of a graph. All right, another one of the tactics that these guys use is they show you a whole bunch of views. Now, one thing that some of these people will promote is actually running ads in small countries that have very low ad costs. So you can spend $10 running ads in these other countries and get a couple thousand views from it. It's not accurate. It's not good. So my point is, don't always trust the numbers. And then probably one of the biggest things that they're doing that's a little bit on the shady side is once they get you into their program, after you've bought their course, they try to upsell you on other things, other services like editing, like thumbnail design, like script writing, like voiceovers, like purchasing a channel that has already been monetized. And I'm going to get into a lot of these things here in just a minute. I'm going to teach you the right ways to do it, but just know that if you buy a channel that has already been monetized, you're buying a channel that may have been successful in one category, and if you don't stick in that same category, the odds of you being successful diminish greatly because YouTube has already started ranking ranking that channel for those keywords. So you have to be really careful with what you're purchasing from these guys on the back end. And the last thing, it's just kind of a matter of semantics. These systems aren't automated at all. So slapping a label YouTube automation is not accurate. Probably a big red flag, if you're asking me. Now, I'm going to teach you how to create a faceless channel the right way. But before I do that, there are 4 things that you need to know. Okay. Number 1, it will take time. Anything that makes you money in this world will take your time. Number 2, it will cost money. Even when you buy these programs, you're going to realize that they sold you a system that is going to require monthly maintenance charges, unless you want to do everything by yourself. And in that case, it's going to take an extraordinary amount of time and effort. Number 3, you're going to second guess yourself every step of the way. That's just par for the course with YouTube. Am I right, everybody? If you have built a YouTube channel in any category, you know by now that you tend to second guess yourself. Right now, for example, we are switching from spring into summer. Kids are getting out of school. Everybody's viewing patterns are flipped on their heads. So just a little tidbit, if you're getting a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 on your last few uploads, it's not because your thumbnail sucks, or your title sucks, or you forgot how to do YouTube effectively. It's because the entire world is shifting from having kids at school to having kids at home, and patterns are going boop, 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 boop. And number 4, I am going to give you this information under the assumption that you already know how to upload content, how to start a channel. A lot of the courses that I have seen have built up a whole ton of fluff that is like
how to start a channel, how to put up a profile picture, how to throw up your banner.
It's a lot of information that you can just look up and find on YouTube in about 5 minutes. So if this is the first YouTube video that you've ever seen, and you're like,
I want to learn how to do YouTube,
start by watching a video that teaches you how to upload content, because I don't want to get into that. I actually learned something about how to create ads that drive traffic to a channel that might actually help boost a channel's awareness in the algorithm, and it's kind of interesting. So I'm going to share that here in just a few minutes as well. So my cousins, let's get into how to build a faceless channel the right way. Now, the first thing that you need to do is categorize your channel correctly. So there are a number of categories that are broad, that are great, and there are a number of categories that are too narrow and you won't have the potential of going viral. So my recommendation is that you create a channel that has broad appeal. If you want a faceless channel that does
Massive numbers,
you got to go broad. And if you want a list of hot categories, here it is. That's a little thing that I like to call an engagement hack. You guys are going to have to hit rewind and hit pause on that because I didn't leave it on the screen for very long. All right, let's get back into it. Now, the other thing is, I know a lot of you guys might have interest in topics that aren't on this list, that have a smaller audience. My recommendation, right this second, don't chase those channels unless you want to do tutorials and you want to put your face on it. Then in that case, that's totally fine. That's a completely different business model. If you watch the video down in the description, you can learn all about that business model, because that's the one that I teach, because it's a little bit more on the up and up, if you know what I'm saying. Point is, go broad. The next thing that you need to do is create a content plan. And the way that you do that is by researching your competition. Now, in all of the categories that I just showed you, there are already channels that have produced very effective content strategies. So my opinion, you go straight to those channels and you look at what they're doing right. So we're going to go with animals. I just picked a random channel, Animal Insider here. And typically what I like to do when I'm doing content research is I look at what they've been producing over the last few weeks and look for any outlier content. So as you can see, they're posting, it looks like every few days. For the most part, they're getting 3,000 to 5,000 views per video. Oh, but look at this one. 59,000 views on this bad boy. That is what I like to call an outlier. A video that did better than others. 8 things German Shepherds hate that you should avoid. So if you're creating a content strategy around animals, I would write this title down. I would copy the URL of this so you can come back and reference it. This is a video that indicates that this subject has potential right now. That was 1 month ago, totally within the window. And then what you do is you go through a number of your top competitors and you do the same thing over and over and over again until you build a massive list of video content ideas. Now, YouTube isn't the only place that you can look for content ideas. If you want to get outside of the box a little bit, you can actually go to Google and find blogs on these subjects. This is actually how we built a huge content strategy when we were first starting on YouTube. When I was doing personal development and motivational type of content, I would go to personal development blogs. I would look at their top viewed posts. You could determine by how many comments they have. And then I would take that content, rewrite it into my own words, and then I would use a very similar title on YouTube. And guess what, cousins? It worked. What would happen if I were to sneeze in it, or stomp on it on the ground, or even tear it in half and tape it back together? It's still worth $20. The other place that always has incredible ideas and your daily fill of troll comments is Reddit. You can go to Reddit, you can just type in like ghost stories, police stories, animal stories, and you will find a litany of content choices. Litany. Did I use that right? Leave it in the comments below. I have no idea. It's just something I heard once and I was like, let's throw it out there. I want to sound intelligent. Along with your content plan, you guys, if you are showing clips, you need to go and find the clips that you're showing. Now, one thing that a lot of these courses and these gurus talk about is just taking what someone else has already done and then just remaking it in your own style. I don't recommend that because that's kind of like plagiarism. But if you want to do that, here's a really cool hack that you could use to do that.
You just want to be a cheater.
So you can download the GLASP Chrome plugin. That's GLASP. It's totally free. And what this plugin does is it gives you this nice little option up here, transcript and summary. So you click on that, gives you the complete transcript, which you can then click this little button right here, copy it, come over to ChatGPT, paste it, and then you can just ask it to rewrite that entire transcript for you. Now, sometimes if it's too long, ChatGPT might not work, so you might have to break it into chunks in your own style, get your own scripts for very little time and effort. And then you can go to 4K Downloader. You just Google that, download that software. It allows you to copy the URL of any video, throw it into the software, and it will download that video. Then you can grab their clips and B-roll and be the dirty little cheater that you are. So what do they say? Once a cheater, always a cheater? Don't be a cheater. All right, guys, now let's move into the content creation side of things. Daddy's favorites. Papa? And I got some really cool tricks and tactics. AI is making things really, really easy, so check this stuff out. Number one, scripting. You got to come up with really good scripts. Luckily, we're in an age where AI can just write everything for you. So my recommendation is to pay for ChatGPT 4. I don't remember how much it is, maybe 30, 40, 50 bucks a month. It will save you a lot of money and time and effort in scripting. You can get things back instantly. Go into ChatGPT 4. Here's what you say. Please write me a script on how to prune bushes in the nude. This is for a faceless YouTube channel. Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. You got yourself a full script. Welcome to another episode of Unusual Gardeners. I love it. ChatGPT is actually pretty funny. You want to script your videos for at least 8 minutes, so that way once you get monetized, you can have multiple ads running in every video. You can drive that money through the roof. That's the idea anyways. Well, that's gonna piss off the viewer, but hey, you know what? We're pissing everybody off today, so let's just keep pissing everybody off. Who else can we piss off? All right, guys, the next thing that we want to look at is voicing over. Now, a lot of these gurus are gonna be like, hey, use my voiceover guy, he's amazing, while they're taking a little bit of something on the back end. You don't need to do that. Now, there are a couple of options that you can choose that are AI related. Right now, I would highly recommend Descript. Descript is a great way that you can voice things over, and they've got multiple different voices, and it sounds pretty dang good. But if you want to save on that side of things, then you can do it yourself. You ever think about that? Now I know, hey, this is supposed to be faceless, but the thing is like, yeah, it's faceless still. You just need to, it's not voiceless. Come on, man. Another one that I found right now is called voicebooking.com. Check this out. Voice booking, I think you might be pretty good at voicing stuff over. Let's see.
You're right. I'm really well at voicing your shiz over.
Yeah, that's right. I will say the more money you spend finding somebody who can voice your content over in the right style and the right sound, it will be worth it because, again, all that people have are B-roll, and we're going to talk about editing in just a second, and voice. And if you don't have a good voice, you don't have good B-roll, editing, this is where it pays to spend money. You want to find somebody who has experience creating faceless channels. And the more money you spend, the better quality you're going to get. Now, there are a number of people on Fiverr who do a really good job. I just found this guy. Check this out. He's pretty dang good. And for 300 bucks, you get yourself 6 videos. And check this out. Thumbnails included, which we're going to talk about next. The thing with editing is you really don't want to do this style yourself unless you're a high quality editor, because it can get super complicated really quick when you have a gajillion pieces of B-roll content and you're trying to figure out how to put it all together. You just take it an astronomical amount of your time, so it pays to save some money and save some time. The next thing you want to look at are thumbnails. You want to find somebody who can create good, high quality and intriguing thumbnails. Now, if you guys want to watch my video on thumbnails, you can check it out right up there. Boink, boink. This is another area, unless you're a graphic design genius, where it pays to find somebody. You can find somebody who is doing thumbnails for $5-10 a pop. So I highly recommend doing that. You can look on Fiverr as well there, or you can use Midjourney. So one of the things that I wanted to test for this video was if I took somebody else's thumbnail, threw it into Midjourney, let's see what would happen. Here's the original photo that I found. This was on like some scary video channel, and this is the original thumbnail I found. Threw it into Midjourney. I had to find the right prompt, and this is ultimately what it came up with. So I was like, hey, this is kind of creepy. It looks photorealistic. I could throw this on a thumbnail and probably get a good half dozen views from it. Listen, I'm throwing a lot of stones at faceless, you guys, because faceless is kind of silly sometimes to me. Or if you want to save even more time, you can take intriguing clips from your content and throw a red arrow or a red circle around it and call it a day, because a lot of the times that is what works best on this type of content. And that's what the big boys also don't want to talk about, because they want you to use their people. Titles. Again, you guys research what is hot. If you're doing all your content research, you can grab all of those titles that you found there. Once again, I don't recommend that you copy them word for word, but you can take those titles and you can do what I call title blending, where you look for specific trends that are working currently. Once again, in the last few months, you can take one title, merge it with another title, and find combinations that work for you. Or you can take those hot topic titles, the titles that are crushing, throw it into ChatGPT, say, give me 10 variations of this title, and hope that one of those is going to work just as well. A lot of this is trial and error, testing. You don't always know what's going to pop. And so sometimes you got to change around a thumbnail, you got to change around a title and figure out which combinations work for you. Once you have a breakaway video, like I said, of your own, and then it becomes a matter of doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down. One thing that we've been testing on our channel and some of our clients' channels is very short, clear, and concise, intriguing titles, like proof there's a hidden algorithm. Just saying. The next step that all the gurus want to tout that they have the best system and formula for is SEO. Just use AI. That's all I got to say about that. Just use AI. Before I get to the goodies here, you guys, I just want to say there are a couple things that you need to remember. Now, number one, your inclination is to be very excited about this video, and you're going to want to go out and start a channel immediately. And typically what happens is you get started, you get one video up, maybe,
and then you burn out.
If you want this to be successful for you, which it can be very successful for you. Like the formula I'm giving you right now could blow you up. You could make hundreds of thousands of dollars with it. And I bet you there's going to be at least one person who does this and they're going to build a channel that it takes off. But they were consistent. You have to get to the point where it hurts not to upload. I know I've said that before, you guys. Like, if you want to earn revenue and you want to grow a channel, you got to stay consistent and it's got to hurt not to upload. Number two, you got to stay organized. I'm going to throw a link to a loom that one of my buddies made that shows his entire Trello system for how to organize everything that he's doing on his faceless channel. So you guys can click the link in the description below and watch that. It's about 6 minutes long, but it's got some really good insights in it if you guys are interested in taking this and rolling with it. And number three, if you're hiring people, no one will ever care as much about your content as you. Keep that in mind. You're building a business that's going to make you revenue, but they are paid the same amount no matter how much money you make on the back end. So most of your contractors aren't going to care unless you make them care. So you need to kind of rule with an iron fist, or maybe at least a piece of balsa wood fist. Hard, but floats. All right, guys, let's get to the goodies. How to run ads on a faceless channel to drive traffic up. Here is the strategy that I heard. I have not used this, but it sounds like reasonable. You have to create incredibly good pieces of content, because the only way that an ad strategy works to drive more traffic over to your current videos and to get them to subscribe to your channel is if you use a very good piece of content as your ad that hooks people in, gets people watching, and makes them want to watch more. So you have to create a very good piece of content. Now, know when you run ads to this piece of content, there is a high likelihood that it will never go viral. You will have to continue running ads to that. It won't won't get organic reach. It will only get advertising reach. But the point is if you run it in the right places, which I'm going to get to in a second, it will drive traffic to your other pieces of content. Here's the two places you want to use your content to run ads. You want to do in feed or in stream. In feed is based off of search terms. In stream, you want to run on all of your competition's channels. You want to have a whole big list of channel URLs that you copy into the ad when you're setting it up, so that way your video only runs in front of those videos. So if you're telling ghost stories, you want to take your best video and run it in front of other people's ghost stories. And then the idea is that they'll be so intrigued that they'll hit the subscribe button on your channel or watch another video from your content, and it will drive more traffic to your channel. The only way it works though is if you can convince them that your videos are just as good as the video that they were about to watch, and they don't feel like they're getting a bait and switch, or they don't leave your video after 5 or 15 seconds. Nah, man. If you do everything that I'm telling you to do in this video, it will save you thousands of dollars that somebody else was going to teach you in some rando course. And frankly, you're welcome. Now, the future of faceless channels looks a little bit on the bleak side. And the reason is because all of the tips and tactics that I shared right here, anybody can use AI to build a faceless channel now. There are a lot of people who are already doing it. This market is going to become extraordinarily saturated. And beyond that, because all these other gurus are telling people to copy and paste and steal other people's content and then just repurpose it, it's wearing out audiences of faceless channels. They watch that content and they're like, I've already seen this a half dozen times, and I get bored, and you get bored, and the audiences get bored. And so these channels are not going to be as effective as they are right now for much longer. So if you want to build a faceless channel, right now is the time, and you need to do it in a very unique way if you want to stand out from the crowd. I want to see somebody take this information and create a channel. So here's how it's going to work. The first person to start a channel with this information and get a video to 1,000 views, I'm going to mail you the crispiest $100 bill that you have ever seen. I'm going to mail it to you. Now, if you want to learn a business model that actually helps grow a business, I got a link down in the description below where you guys can watch my training about what we do in our agency and have the potential to work with me. That sounds pretty good. If I were one of you, I would be like, yeah, that sounds pretty good, but I'm not. So this was a long one. It was a beast, but totally dense, full of insane information. Hope you like it. Watch this one. Peace.